Our process today ought to be inspiring. We'll take this opportunity to hear directly from that founder, responding to a series of questions about the early period. And if there's time, she may take questions from the audience. This is your opportunity to get to know one of the pioneers of private university education. As she comes to the stage, will you help me greet the founder of Northwood University, Dr. Willa M. Stauffer.
There you go. However you're comfortable.
Have a couple more minutes at the mic, and I'll be right here.
Thank you.
Let me set the stage. In the late 1950s, our arch rival, the Soviet Union, remember them, orbited the first man-made satellite, Sputnik, and shocked the world. Everyone, certainly every American, assumed that the United States would be the first to do this. But in one stroke, the Soviet Union proved it had moved beyond the U.S. in rocket technology, and we know they could put a bomb on it. Our country felt this was a clear and present danger, and it changed our behavior immensely. Higher education responded by quadrupling our attention to science and engineering, itself a very good thing, and much of the resources for this came from other disciplines, including business and management studies, not quite such a good thing. Additionally, this was a period when the estimation of free enterprise had declined markedly. Socialism and communism was in an ascendancy. Two young college administrators decided there was an important need for a college focused on free enterprise and management. After all, if we were going to the moon, someone would need to manage the trip. They quit their jobs, mortgaged everything, and started what was then Northwood Institute in Alma, Michigan, to begin the process of what they thought would be the needed role of university education in the future. They gathered around them the best possible people they could, including a man you just met, Tom Brown, who did almost everything from top to bottom in that organization right after it began. It was a very risky piece of business. And they could have lost everything they had. Colleges were not normally begun within private families with modest means, but they engaged their wives and their families in the process, and they did it. It ended up where we are today. But traveling back to the beginning, there are some interesting stories about those first days and the first half of our institutional life and beyond, when the Turners and the Stauffers created and led Northwood. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to present the single remaining founder of Northwood University, Dr. Willa Stauffer, who will talk to us about those days. Again, would you greet her? So, Willa, how did Gary and Arthur meet?
Well, they met in 1954 in Alma, Michigan, when Gary was hired as the basketball coach, and Arthur was director of admissions. And before long, you know Arthur, he talked Gary into leaving coaching and joining him in the admissions department. Mm-hmm. And that's where they got the idea to start a school of business, free enterprise, and getting the students ready to go to work.
Willa, what was your thought when Gary came home one day and said that he and a friend were going to co-found a new college?
Well, he didn't. It was always Joanne and Arthur and Gary and myself, and we talked about it for probably a year before we actually got up the nerve to look for a location, borrow the money, give up their jobs. It was a little scary.
I'm sure it was, but it was always collaborative.
It was.
It was all four of you.
All four of us. To this day, the children, my children and Turner children, are very close.
Were the Jordans involved in that?
Very much so. It was their money that started it.
So when we think about buildings here, we can read the history of the college.
Absolutely.
Into that.
Absolutely. Orpha Minor lived down the street from our first campus. She used her home as a place to entertain our Northwood ladies. We had tea parties at her. She gave us the tea set.
Aha, we needed a tea set.
Yes, we did. And Mrs. Du Bois and her husband, a doctor, he was our student doctor.
Uh-huh.
And he still, practiced in Alma. And she was our first women's board chairman. And Du Bois Residence Hall is named after them, and Orpha Minor is the girls' residence hall. And Jordan Hall, too. So we've taken care of Alma, but we've got all of Midland out there.
Oh, I know. One more thing about Alma, or maybe several more things, but one more thing at least. What was the building that was first found? What was its previous function? And is there any special relationship between anybody in this room and that building?
Well, it was a hospital for 30-some years, and it happened to be the hospital that son Jeff was born in. And Stephen and Michael Turner were also born there, not just you.
And he survived. What are some of the things that you did in those very early days to make things work?
Well, I cleaned that old building, and we painted. Gary and Arthur tiled the whole.
Arthur Turner tiled on his knees?
He had knees at that time.
I can almost not imagine that.
We did everything, everything that you do when you have a building you need to get ready.
How about some of the other early financial supporters of the institution? Folks maybe from here in Midland, like you mentioned the Dows or the Whitings?
Both of them. Vera Griswold. In fact, all of the buildings are from our women, named after the women.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Hoxie. There was the Hoxie Tennis House. I think it's the Bennett Sports Center.
Correct.
And just all of those ladies.
So women really made a difference in the early years at Northwood.
Absolutely, absolutely, right from the start.
What was the different role that women played in this institution versus other kinds of institutions?
And?
You started libraries, for example,
Well,
rather
we
than
did.
bond issues.
We did.
You started scholarships, for example, rather than other
Well,
kinds
we
of
had
things. There were all kinds of
we
things
had
like
bring a book luncheons.
that. Yeah,
And that's
got some crazy books out of that.
how the library helped, to get going. And we had all kinds of good things going to get it started. The women all over the country. Nancy Barker is a good example of what went on with the women.
She and Bill carried lots of books back, didn't they?
Pardon?
She and Bill carried lots of books back.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
When did athletics become a part of Northwood?
Probably March 24th, 1959.
I'm out of my league. Tell us about that.
Well, Gary was a basketball coach, and athletics always meant a great deal to him. And he knew that starting at college, you had to have that to make a well-rounded student, their social life. And so we started he started a basketball team. I just helped with the uniforms.
You made the uniforms, didn't you? Sew them up?
Kind of, yeah. Put the numbers on anyway.
Tell me, I understand there's a great story about how our basketball team used to travel to away games.
Yes. We happened to have a neighbor that ran a funeral home. And he was a good friend. And all we had were little station wagons. And he knew that wasn't, for the away games anyway. So he loaned us his limousines.
His hearses.
Well, we didn't call it a hearse. We called it a limousine.
So when the Northwood team arrived for an away game, they pulled up in limousines.
A limousine.
That's intimidating. That would work.
Mr.
Very
President,
classy.
I think, Mr. President, you found a new strategy.
Yeah,
I think that's terrific.
We've set a high standard right from the very beginning. There's no question about that. Can you talk about why Northwood partnered with the arts and how the phrase business and arts make such good partners came to be?
Well, I'm sure that Arthur phrased that, and that's how it came to be, but it's always been a part, right from the very beginning. We had art in Midland, or in Alma, and Orpha Minor made sure that we had wonderful artifacts that we had around the building, and of course we started the galleries in Midland, and we started the Festival of the Desert. We had our own orchestra, Creativity Center, just many talent and celebrity series. We brought lots of famous people to the campus.
I remember Hugh Downs, for example, and all kinds of other people.
Jose Greco,
Jose Greco, yeah.
Arthur Godfrey. Of course, they won't remember those people.
Oh, some of them will. I've met some of these people out here. Some of them will.
And a lot, Celeste Holm. Well, Nancy knows. We had all kinds of people here, wonderful people. Pearl Bailey, and she liked it so much she decided to become a student.
Right, she
graduated.
Pearl Bailey did, that's great. What about Rosina and Giulio Tomasi?
Well, they were very important in the arts. She taught history of Italian art, or just the history.
Introduction to Art. She came equipped with 500 slides that she had to show in quick succession to everybody.
And Giulio was a sculptor, very famous sculptor, and he designed the Distinguished Woman's Medal, which I didn't wear today, but I'm sure some of these ladies have it on. But it was beautiful, and that's how.
He also designed the sets of the chariot race for Ben-Hur, which I thought was really cool, because those things were huge and very impressive.
Yeah. He was very impressive. He didn't speak any English, but
he didn't
used
speak
his
any known
hands a lot.
language. He was Mr. President.
What was kind of the milestone for you that helped you to really believe that this dream was now a reality? There must have been some point in time when you had to say, this is really happening.
Well, really, I think the biggest milestone in the beginning, there were many, but it was the day that we opened here in Midland in 1962. And just driving in along the campus and seeing Jordan Hall, and Dow Commons, and Minor Hall, and Du Bois Residence Hall, and just knowing that, it's finally here, finally did it.
It's really going to happen, really for good.
An interesting thing that seems to be true here is that people are utility players in a lot of ways. For example, I know Tom Brown started out as a basketball coach and a math teacher and ended up president. A number of other things like that. Was that always a plan of Arthur and Gary's to use anybody anywhere they found themselves? They seem much less constrained by some kind of normal staffing process. They just found people where they had them. Is it your impression too that they did that? And
Of course.
were there any other strange
I think
examples?
Don Tallman wore many hats.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are a lot of others that I can't think of right now.
I think you got a good deal out of some of those people.
2 for 1, sometimes 3 for 1.
Sometimes.
And they only got paid for 1.
I do know
early
that
days,
for sure.
In the
yes.
early days.
Yeah.
And some of us didn't get paid
At all.
at all.
At all.
There were a couple missing payroll dates for those of you who were supposed to get paid in those early
Right.
days. Yeah. 25th anniversary, Carnegie Hall, New York. What does that bring to mind, if anything?
It was fantastic. Leontine Price sang at the Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
We had some function at the plaza, didn't we?
We sure did.
And
25th Gala.
it was wonderful. It was-
Set a high standard for us
It
going into the
certainly did.
50th, that's for sure. That's
Why aren't we at the plaza right now?
not
We're
all,
Well,
at
we are,
least
we
as
are.
good.
not all of these people could make it today. They said maybe later in the year, but today they
It was
really
like-
wanted to come and hear from you. So that's why we're here, but we've got a full year to celebrate.
I know, I'm looking forward to it.
What about people, people from your family that were connected in many ways? I just saw on the screen there a flash by a picture of Jim Stauffer and Gary Stauffer.
Well, Jim.
That happens to be the president, George Bush, but I just saw the other one. What was this? What family were involved for you?
Well, Turner's, Jordan's. Turner's family, his father was a contractor, and I'm sure he did a lot of the original work. And Jim quit his job. I think he was at Ferris Institute. He quit his job and came as our dean of business. And in fact, I think wrote the first book for business. And all families were involved, Stauffers and Turners.
I just saw, there's Margaret Chase Smith on board. What was Margaret Chase Smith's relationship to Northwood?
Well, she became involved with us when she spoke at the Round Table in West Palm Beach. And she became interested in Northwood at that time. And she decided that's where her papers should go, was to Northwood. And so that's how our library got started, and we became very close friends. In fact, I did a few parties for her.
You did a few parties.
I did.
Yeah.
You were there.
I was. And what was your favorite creation? Do you remember?
I had
Keys?
several, Dave.
Yeah. Oh, several. Tell me about them all.
No, I can't.
You can't.
No,
Okay.
No. What were they? Do you
I remember the beans and the peas primarily.
Oh, yeah.
I remember
Sugar
that.
snap peas.
Sugar snap peas, yeah. And Bill Lewis, who always complained about whatever we did.
Yeah.
The general, yeah. I saw you with President Bush there just a second ago, the first President Bush.
Me with him?
Oh, I think
I was there, but
I imagine you were. She was with Senator Smith. I understand you were in the room.
I was. That was a favorite memory also. When she received her Freedom Medal. And we were one of the 5 people that she invited.
Just 5.
Gary and I.
Do you have any kids that graduated from Northwood? He said.
3 of them are right there, and 1 granddaughter right there.
Yeah.
And I have another granddaughter, another daughter,
And Kylie just coming, granddaughter.
and another daughter coming.
Yeah.
A granddaughter, not daughter.
Yep.
Granddaughter. Got too many.
Oh, we don't think so. We don't think so. You never have enough, actually. As the college grew, what were some of your favorite memories from those times? Some of the things that we did maybe on the other campuses or across the university that you were a part of?
Well, we did when Gary and Arthur received their doctorate from Northwood, we had a big celebration
Texas.
in Dallas. Brought the whole family there. In fact, there might be a picture of that somewhere.
Yeah, I think there is.
And that was a wonderful memory. And then also when they opened the Willa and Gary Residence Hall in West Palm Beach.
And afterwards, you took a cruise on a boat. Do you remember
And
the name
we
of that
did.
boat? I
We did.
looked that up. Then
That was fun.
The Oz, 82 feet of leaking Hulk. You took it up and down
Lots
the
of good
intercoastal.
memories. And I have memories of the dinners that I had at my home. And we had, so many of these people there, the creative people and all the instructors from Midland. And didn't we have an all-campus party? And
Relentlessly, yes, we did. Every summer.
And the auto show people. We just had lots of fun.
Absolutely. The auto shows are still fun, but much bigger. Time has a way of doing that.
Well, I can remember one of the first ones, and they asked Arthur and Gary how many people were there, and went out and they stood on one of the hills and they said, I think we had about 2,000. That's the way they numbered things in those days.
Later on, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, we'd stand on that same hill and count the same number of people and guess 40,000.
That's closer to
That's
it.
closer, yeah.
In fact, we're up to
It was always that way.
55,000 now by that same
Yeah, yeah,
methodology.
yeah.
So it works well.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, and I also, favorite memories was meeting Al Warden, the astronaut from
Right.
Apollo 15.
Right.
And he taught some classes here, too.
He
didn't
did. Started an energy management program that was way ahead of his time. I wish we'd had him about 10 years later, but it would have been a marvelous thing for us. Yeah.
Maybe we can get him back. Energy management is,
As a matter of fact,
is
he
a
still
really
writes all
good
the
one
time.
to think about.
He probably would come back.
Well, he still, he took in his outfit as he went to the moon, he took the flags of all 50 states.
have
and
one.
he's been good enough to share those with
Right.
the university in his collection. So we have, I think at this point we have 40 or so of the 50 states, and he gives us one each year. So he is still a very loyal friend of this institution.
That's
And
good.
We thank you for making that partnership and getting that started.
You know, there were so many people through the 50 years that, and a lot of them are out here, that I can't name.
Well, there's a lot of, we've been blessed. I mean, that's really one of the things that I think you and Gary and Arthur and Joanna have created a family atmosphere here within the university.
We called it that.
And that continues to this day. And really, there are people here. I met a gentleman earlier today that was a faculty member in Alma. And our very
Really?
Yep, and you need to say hello. I know he's seated right over
Is
in
that
this corner.
Arlen?
Yep, Arlen
Is
is
it
right there.
Arlen?
Where
He's
are you,
waving,
Arlen?
waving in the back. You can see
Where
his
are you?
hand.
Wave.
He's waving right
Oh,
in the
my
corner
goodness.
over
How
there.
are you doing?
And Shirley Madden is here,
Arlen
and
Lindbergh.
her husband taught in Alma.
Edgar Madden was one of the most important people for me, in any case, and for the university
And didn't
for
he
a long
start the
time.
story of-
He started the 50th anniversary book. When he retired, he agreed to write the book of our 50th anniversary, and he had interviewed over 90 people for it, accumulated an enormous amount of material, and then tragically died. And so that project got picked up and carried on, but it would not have happened without him. Edgar was the guy who made the officer system work in many ways. We had every 2-year gatherings of all of our leaders, our guiders, and our faculty. Made legitimate decisions there. I remember one time we walked into the room in Florida. We're going to talk about one thing and walked out, and I remember that I had committed to a $3 million computer system that I had no idea how we were going to fund, but that's the kind of thing we did then, and it worked real well. That was Edgar's leadership. Yeah,
He's missed.
he's
It's good to see Shirley here.
more than missed. Mr. President?
Is there one thing, Willa, that you really hope Northwood never loses sight of as we move into our next 50 years of development as a university?
I'm going to read this, as you know, and I need a Kleenex.
Willa says, the hard work, the sacrifices that built Northwood for every one of our 50 years, the value of relationships, that people make a difference, the free enterprise philosophy, and never forget to prepare today's students for the world they will work in and lead. Thank you.
Thank you, Willa. Well, I'm afraid we've pretty much run out of time for this afternoon, and we thank all of you for being here. But Before we go, I know there are a number of people that want to say hello to Willa and want to spend a little time with her. But first and foremost, I want to have come forward a representative of our student body, and that's Mr. Ryan Koch, who is the president of our Northwood Student Government Association. Ryan is a senior from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, studying automotive marketing and management. And Ryan, I think you have a little gift for Dr. Stauffer. Is that correct?
I do, President Pretty. However,
right here.
before we do
Come
that,
right
you made reference earlier in your presentation
Stand right there if you want.
about this podium that was donated back in 1961 by the senior class. Well, that tradition has kind of fallen away over the years. But I can assure you, this year, the class of 2009, we will be presenting a gift to Northwood University on behalf of our senior class to start a tradition that we hope to continue for the next 100 years. So thank you so much for all that you have done, Mrs. Stauffer, over the years. It has been a pleasure to attend this university for the last 4 years, and it truly is a home away from home. So thank you for all of us, and a sincere thank you, and we do love you deep down inside.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice.
Thank you.
Oh,
And on behalf of the students at Northwood University, we would like to present this to you for a token of our appreciation. Thank you.
thank you. Beautiful colors. Those are the FAD Auction colors.
Thank you.
Willa, we also have a, whoops, I'll slide that right in there next to you. We also have a gift from the university for you, also from the Northwood Gallery, since you were one of the founders that helped to get the gallery started, and we know you love the products that we have there. This is a gift that was actually created by one of our students, Linka Zatal from Czechoslovakia has created this little gift just for you.
Wonderful.
So
Oh, wonderful.
thank you so much for today,
You're welcome.
for all you do and have done for this great university.
Thank you.
And I know Dr. Fry has another gift for you.
Oh,
I have a final gift. This is a work that was begun by you and Arthur and Joanne. It resulted in an institution of which everyone in this room is inordinately proud. Its record of achievement was begun to be cataloged by Edgar Madden. It was finished by David Richards. It is a history of Northwood University. Without it and you, we wouldn't have the life we have. It is yours.
thank you. Thank you. I love it. Thank you. And I understand they're for sale for $19.59.
They are. would you tell us about that,
Absolutely.
Mr.
Willa, you're
President?
doing a
Let's
great
sit down.
job. Keep going.
Let's sit down.
You'll find that they are for sale right out in the lobby for $19.59.
Isn't that cute?
And that you can purchase this great history book. Willa just received the very first book to come off the press, as is so appropriate for our founder. But there are plenty more out there, and we hope you'll all, if you don't pick one up today, that you'll take the time to buy and enjoy this wonderful reminiscence. It was written by Dr. David Richards, who is the assistant director of our Margaret Chase Smith Library in Skowhegan, Maine, and the executive editor or sponsor, I guess, is our own Dr. Fry. So they have done just an extraordinary job of, I think, capturing the voice and the message of Northwood through the years. And we're very, very pleased to be able to present it for all of you today at purchase in the back of the room. We also happen to have another volume that I think those of you that have not yet purchased this need to think about. This is When We Are Free, the 5th edition of When We Are Free. And this is a book that is in fact a textbook used on all of our campuses, written by many of our faculty members and numerous other historians and economists from across the globe who share our belief and our philosophy in free enterprise. And there are also copies of When We Are Free that are available for sale out in the lobby. Now, our success at Northwood has been anchored since our inception by the fact that we are dedicated to values and principles of a free society driven by ethics, entrepreneurship, and sound management decision-making. We've been very fortunate to have visionary founders who we have taken the time to celebrate today. The late Dr. Arthur E. Turner, his wife, the late Dr. Joanne Turner, the late R. Gary Stauffer, and his remarkable wife, Willa Stauffer. We've enjoyed strong leadership in this institution throughout our history, from our Board of Trustees and from leaders like Tom Brown, David Fry, Edgar Madden, Catherine Chen, Bob Serum, and a list that could go on and on and on. But woven within all of those 50 years has been a strong core of philosophy, an idea, in fact, the Northwood idea, which binds us into one Northwood, an institution with campuses across the globe, but that all cherish freedom and individual responsibilities. So yes, today we celebrate the founding of this great institution, an institution that has remained true to our mission and the Northwood idea. Northwood Institute was founded to provide leaders for business and industry some 50 years ago. Northwood University continues to develop the future leaders of a global free enterprise society. We find ourselves looking back at our history and looking forward to our future. From the founding, our partnership with business has been and continues to be unwavering for this institution. So we thank you all for being here today to learn a little bit about our founding. I hope you'll join us again throughout the coming months as we have a number of activities planned for our 50th anniversary. Some are already scheduled and you might be aware of them. And there are plenty of other surprises that are going to be added over the course of the coming year. So you'll have to check our website to stay on top of all the 50th anniversary activities. But we hope you'll enjoy all of them as we have this year to ensure that the Northwood idea lives on for generations to come. Thank you all for being here and enjoy your afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, the president of Northwood University, Dr. Keith A. Pretty.
Thank you all.